Hello and welcome back, my fellow human. If you're new here, thank you for joining us. I do things differently here on this channel, so with that being said, if the message does resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Now, triggering statements may arise on the readings themselves. Remember, there's no obligation to force it to fit, and triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. Your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift, and I'm deeply grateful to be here sharing it with you today. So we are doing a pick a card, and the question we're asking is, what can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? I feel like these are amazing questions to dig into. They do fall in line with more like shadow questions, but tarot is great at revealing our shadow to us and helping us to work through old patterns. And so I really felt called to doing this today. And I was also guided to use the Dragon Oracle cards by Diana Cooper. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Let's go ahead and hop to our prayer, and then we will get this reading going for you. My beloved source, this prayer is for anybody here today. I ask that you help us open our hearts to our truth. You know, we all want those healthy romantic relationships in our lives, and sometimes these are seemingly very challenging to manifest because maybe we're in a rush, or maybe we feel like it has to come in a certain package with a certain person, or we have certain non-negotiables that really truly are negotiable, but we don't want to let them go because we're seeing it as that's the whole package. And the fear of letting go means that we might get something a lot different than what we had planned on getting. But I know that you are always guiding us towards love that fills us, that encompasses everything, and reminds us that we are worthy and deserving of unconditional love in this here now here moment. That the love of our life is someone who sees us, not someone who fits into an actionable checklist, but rather there's someone who wants to grow with us, to be present with us, to change with us, and to encourage us to become a better version of ourselves. So today I ask that you open our hearts to this truth and open our eyes to seeing what it is that might be blocking us from manifesting that healthy connection in our lives. So as these words are spoken onto this tribe and onto this reading, so shall they be. Amen. Aho. Asay. Thank you, thank you, thank you, my beloved source. Thank you. Okay. All right. So let's move this. We'll get to shuffling. All right. So how can you attract a healthy romantic relationship? How can you attract a healthy romantic relationship? Hi, Zoe. How can you attract a healthy romantic relationship? Thank you, Source. How can you attract a healthy romantic relationship? All right, pile one. What oracle card is going to help us better understand how you can attract a healthy romantic relationship? Okay, thank you. All right, pile number two. What oracle card is going to help us better understand how you can attract a healthy romantic relationship? Pile number two. Okay, thank you. And pile number three. What oracle card is going to help us better understand how you can attract a healthy romantic relationship? Thank you. All right, on the bottom of the deck, collective energy. Seeing the world through bigger eyes is what I heard here. There's a key of wisdom here, but we have the green gold dragon from Sirius, brings universal knowledge to your spiritual path. Learn about spiritual technology and be a transmitter of sacred knowledge. So right away, how you can open up to a healthy romantic relationship is by letting your spirituality flow through you at every turn, right? You have grown so much, and then seeing the world from this bigger picture, it's not so small and cut and simplistic, right? It's actually so much bigger than we could have ever initially imagined. But sometimes, especially with labeled relationships, we get so caught up on the label itself that we actually might be detracting from a possible love connection, which scares a lot of people who are on labeled relationship journeys, because there's this belief that we all are destined to be with said person. But said person was actually brought to our lives to help initiate our spiritual growth. There was not necessarily a higher promise that this was going to be a romantic connection. And a lot of people don't talk about that sometimes in labeled connections, they're people we can't really connect with on a romantic level, like family, or they are a gender that we don't fall in love with, or they are in a state of life where we just can't bring our lives together. But nobody wants to discuss these things because they go against the nature of a labeled relationship, okay? For others of you, this is just allowing yourself to be authentic with your spiritual journey and speaking your spiritual truth everywhere you go. This is how you attract a healthy romantic relationship, because it feels like your partner is going to be someone who meets you in that spiritual light. They're going to understand what it is that you're speaking about. And it's not so much the person as much as it is the language, right? So they're not seeing the package. They're seeing your communication. They're meeting you on a spiritual level. And I know a lot of people might, well, that is the spirit, that is the labeled connection, but this is different, okay? This is a difference of how you're able to be authentically you in a spiritual space without any masks, that this is going to give someone else permission to show up as authentically themselves without any spiritual masks. Okay, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't have to hide myself with you anymore. And the wisdom that the two of you are going to share, it's going to help build a very solid dynamic moving forward, where instead of connecting physically, both of you are actually connecting spiritually first, which then leads to emotional connection, which will then lead to a mental connection, which then eventually will evolve into a physical connection. And so this is something that's very profound for the collective right now. Is it's almost like we're going backwards, right? From what we know. Usually it's the physical connection, then the mental connection, then the emotional connection, and then if ever we get to the spiritual. But it actually is that we have learned from a very materialistic way. We're believing that the only way we belong is through the physical, when actually it's through the spiritual. When we can have a meeting of the spirit, then love flows down and it covers all bases and all accesses. But a lot of times we're getting caught up in what the whole world believes to be true, that we're forgetting that oftentimes Source has it planned to leave us in surprised moments and to grant us gifts that we otherwise would not have received. But we block them ourselves because we're thinking it has to be a certain package, or they have to fit a certain checklist, or they have to look a certain way, or they have to act a certain way. Oftentimes our partners are people who leave us in awe because it's someone who we otherwise might not have gone for in a previous part of our lives. So let's see what this card says. All right. All right, do we have a... table of contents here, me friends? Okay, here we go. This is the gold green dragon. So this is a 7th dimension dragon already, and it's on page 88. So clearing out karmic cycles, which goes hand in hand with what I was feeling. So it says, within the inner planes of the star system of Sirius and its ascended aspect, Lukame, there are renowned universities attended by beings from the entire cosmos. In these elevated establishments, higher knowledge and spiritual technology from many universes are disseminated. These magnificent dragons work in these academies of light and carry the keys and codes of the spiritual technology of the future in their energy fields. Their mission is to spread this to all those who are ready to help bring in the new golden age. These dragons are cosmic travelers, and like all dragons, help us to move through the dimensions. In addition, they will guide and protect us on our interdimensional journeys between Earth and other parts of the universe, especially if we aspire to be an intergalactic master. This card suggests that you invite these luminous beings to swirl around you, touching your chakras with the sacred geometry of the universe. Then ask them to tune you into any aspect of higher knowledge you can bring forward. Sit quietly and allow this to happen. You may receive a download of information, or various keys and codes you carry in your soul may light up. If so, you'll become a transmitter who broadcasts sacred knowledge, though you may not be consciously aware of it. This is a very powerful dragon, so notice subtle changes in your thoughts and attitude. Your dreams may reveal memories from your travels with the wonderful green gold dragon from Sirius. Yeah, so this is about connecting to even higher dimensions than the 5th dimension. This is about seeing actual unconditional love at its finest, while encompassing that in your physical journey here in the 3D realm, which oftentimes gets hard. But this is actually you being free to express yourself spiritually without any qualms as to what that may look like or how that may appear. Because the more you do that, the easier it is for you to vibrate your heart. And from your heart, you will meet a soul on a spiritual level that will give you the kind of connection you desire in the 3D. Okay? Wow. So let's go ahead and get into this reading today. I'm really excited about this. It's been a while since I've done one of these questions. I know they're not necessarily the popular questions, but they are the more profound questions. So I'm always excited to do these types of readings. All right, pile 1, we have this dice with Jupiter on it. We have this rose quartz gemstone for you to choose from. Pile number 2, we have this dice with Saturn on it. We have this amethyst for you to choose from. Pile number 3, we have this dice with the sun on it. Or we have this raw piece of rose quartz for you to choose from. So we have pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3, and whichever pile you feel called to, that should be the one for you, and I will see you over there. Welcome back, my fellow human, and if you're new here, thank you for joining us. So if you were called to this dice with Jupiter on it, or perhaps you felt called to this piece of rose quartz, or maybe you felt drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be your reading on what can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship. I do things differently here on this channel. Triggering statements may arise on the readings themselves. Remember, there is no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. With that being said, if the messages do resonate with you, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm honored to be here sharing it with you. So with that, let's hop to it and find out. Pile number 1, what can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Source, what would you like to share with us today for pile number 1? What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Okay. Interesting. So we have the 3rd house, we have Pisces energy, and we have North Node. This could be regarding a labeled relationship as well. I just want to touch on that before we get into it, but I'm not going to focus on that. Also, if you haven't, you're more than welcome to check out the collective message. That has additional information that might benefit you as well. And that is timestamped in the description box below. But with this information today, with this set of dice, it kind of goes hand in hand with the collective message. It's being free to express yourself spiritually, pile 1. You see the world from this very big spiritual box. It's like no one really knows what's going on inside of you. They only ever get snippets of who you are. And part of that's because I feel like a lot of times you're worried that how vast your knowledge is, or how differently you see the world around you. It can be scary because of being pushed aside, or it can feel like there's going to be people out there who judge you very harshly because you don't see the generic ideas. Like, you don't see love even the same way that most people do. You don't see life the same way people do. You don't see spirituality the same way people do. And that can be very scary, because it means that to understand where you're coming from, people have to let go of a foundation that they've been holding near and dear to their hearts. And it could be a foundation that's been crumbling for a long time, but they're not ready and willing to let go of that. But for you to attract a healthy romantic relationship, there's this need to step up into your spiritual journey with profound confidence and strength, and own who you are at every step of the way. While it is okay for you to come from a very logical place with the 3rd house, the main thing here is communicating your spirituality and not being afraid to adapt as time moves on. And adapting is not belittling yourself to fit in, but adapting is saying, like, sometimes maybe you can't talk about certain things in certain places, but that doesn't mean that you can't talk about everything else that you see or everything else that you feel. I feel like sometimes you're getting into situations where you feel like, I can't share this about how I see the world because I'm going to be judged, or I'm going to be discriminated against. And then that automatically translates into, so I have to completely shut myself down and just kind of sit and observe the world around me. And you're never going to find a place where you truly fit in, pile 1, until you let yourself express the deeper truth of who you are. Not just the spiritual mask that you put on that feels accepted by society, but what's hiding behind that. And the reason for that is because your partner is as deeply spiritual as you are. And if you're just hiding behind that little mask, then the person that's coming into your life that's meant to meet you on that level, they're going to see that, and they're going to see through that, and it's going to create that dissonance at first, rather than just being open and allowing your heart to be open. But this is also just owning who you are and the path that you're taking. Because when you own yourself, you open yourself up to people who own you, not physically like a possession, but who honor that strength and that power that are coming through. And they're like, yeah, that's pile one. Aren't they amazing? Aren't they incredible? Aren't they just absolutely phenomenal? And that's what this is saying. And I feel like that resistance has come from the past, where maybe you were a child who had very clear psychic abilities, but it scared a lot of the adults around you, which is understandable, especially adults who may have been non-believers or very staunch Christian believers, or very religious, like people who had a label for individuals who had gifts, or they made you feel like you were crazy, or they tried to put a kibosh on it, or they tried to convince you that it was something else other than what it was. But it's actually your spiritual gifts that are going to lead you to a healthy romantic relationship, because there's someone out there who they feel like a protector, but not just a protector. They almost feel like a gatekeeper for you, pile one, where they're going to help you discern who's good to let in and who's not. They're not going to do it for you, but if someone's getting a little rowdy or out of hand, they're going to be someone who steps forward as a protector for you. And not a protector in the sense of like what we would see, like, I don't know, like what's a good example here? When a knight fights for you or something like that. It's not necessarily that. It's like spiritual. There's a spiritual energy that the two of you are going to sense with each other. And that sense, it's like sense sharing, where they're going to be able to feel like, oh my gosh, this person is really, really exhausting, pile number one. And you might just look at your person and they're going to be like, I got you. And they're going to say, hey, you know what? We've had a great time, but we really have to go and take care of some things. And again, it's not them taking responsibility for you, but they're going to notice subtle shifts. But the only way for them to notice those shifts is if you bear those vulnerabilities at first, okay? And I feel like for you, it's about continuing to walk your path. Like, you're going to meet your person on your path. This is not going to be, like, it's going to be some random occurrence, but it's not going to be someone from the past, okay? This is going to be someone who you meet when you're free to be yourself, okay? Yeah, and they're going to be very emotionally mature. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. There's been a lot of betrayal on your journey. Yeah. That's a thing. Like, this energy is very, very deeply ingrained in you, where it's like, it's hard for you to trust people. It's hard for you to give your all to people because you've been betrayed by people in the past. Like, people have taken advantage of you, and not just sexually, but also emotionally. And I feel like they both hurt because they're both connected to the sacral chakra, right? Like, and the heart chakra as well. But really, the sacral chakra has taken a beating in your life. And that's the element of standing in that power of emotional maturity, which you have gained a lot of wisdom from all of this. And it's reminding yourself that I don't identify with these hardships that I went through in my past life. And it's interesting because with the Ten of Swords here, I'm actually getting like these two identities have been fighting for a place at the head of the table. So whether that's emotional neglect or if it's cheating and betrayal, like, both of these have been fighting for a head at your table, and they've become exhausting in their own right. Even though you've learned to become emotionally mature from them, they're still fighting in the background because of the fear of letting someone new in, or the fear of being seen fully, because you felt like you had opened yourself up vulnerably to situations in the past. One thing to remind yourself, Pile 1, is that in the past you were still coming from an unhealed version of yourself. So isn't it safe to say that you actually weren't being 100% vulnerable in those situations because you were still coming from a place of the emotional ego, right? And however your emotional ego reacted or responded to situations. So the way that you would show up now would be more authentic to your truth and your soul than how you showed up in those previous situations. Now, you did not deserve the hardships that you went through, right? You didn't do anything wrong. It wasn't because like, oh, I accrued some crazy karma in a past life or somewhere along my way I said something that was absolutely left-winged for me, and that's not what's coming out here. This is saying that it was just difficult situations that you had gotten into because of repeat cycles from your childhood. We're also specifically looking at the motherhood wound here. So the mother wound of the lack of nurturing, compassion, and kindness for self. And that's why it's so important for you to honor your gifts and to accept your gifts. And especially true for those of you that may have been in your childhood, especially early childhood, where you may have been disgraced by family for having said gifts, and you may have locked it away until you started your journey again, and then had fear of unlocking that within your journey again because of feeling all of those pains and those sufferings coming to a surface. It's natural that they would trigger you as you're starting to unpack that. But we see that they're fighting to be seen, they're fighting to hold place among the emotional ego's reaction to situations unfolding. And so there is a lack of an ability to trust people, and the only way for that to heal, Pile 1, is to learn to trust oneself. So it's vital for you to really lean into trusting yourself, trusting every step you take, trusting every decision you make, trusting every breath that comes from your lungs, trusting everything that you are choosing to do for yourself. And that also comes with that if something does happen where it's perceived as a mistake or the wrong direction, giving yourself unconditional love, compassion, and kindness, and acceptance that you're human like the rest of us living here. You are not meant to hold yourself up to unmanageable or unattainable expectations. What a heavy burden to carry, Pile 1, if that's what you've been doing, and I feel many of you have. And that's why your spiritual journey and your spiritual gifts, whatever they are, whether that is psychic, one of the clairs, one of being a channel, whether that is receiving downloads, having prophetic dreams, being an astral traveler, if you are someone who is very clear about spiritual connection with other people, like you read their souls, you read their auras, whatever it is, okay, like you know your spiritual gift, but it's also something that holds fear for you because of what had happened when you were younger. But your spiritual gift is your North Star. And when you can accept the whole of you, accept this part of you that had been unaccepted by people before, when you can say, you know what, this is a part of who I am, for the good, for the bad, for the better, for the worse, for the beautiful, for the ugly, I accept all parts of it, knowing that this is what makes me complete and whole. And no matter how it shows up, no matter what happens throughout this process, I accept it and I claim it as mine. This is what brings you into a higher vibration. Are you emotionally mature? Absolutely. You've had to learn through your suffering. And it's not that you're not connecting with people because you're not emotionally mature enough. In fact, I feel like a lot of times when you connect with people, you're asking them to step up into an even higher version of themselves, which can be intimidating. But for those of you, for those of the people that you connect with that are willing to step up into a higher vibration for you, The first issue that comes up is feeling like you're not going to receive nurturing and compassion and support from them. And a main contender here to that is also lack of trust. And that is the things that have been battling in your love life for so long, and that's why it's been hard for you to attract a healthy, loving relationship, because you're not yet in a space where you're ready or willing to let go of everybody's out to get me, everybody's out to hurt me, everybody's out to cheat on me, everybody's out to leave me in the dust or toss me aside. Maybe that is your past, and that has been the reality of your past. But the beautiful thing about our present is we get to choose our thoughts and our feelings and create new neural pathways which vibrate with the life that we're heading into, which says, I've let go of my past, and now I invite in people who see me. I invite in support. I invite in love. I invite in compassion from people. I invite in kindness from people. And that in and of itself begins to build new neural pathways. And the more you continue to repeat those cycles, those affirmations, the easier it is for you to begin to carve a new pathway in your own soul journey. And it comes from fully honoring and accepting yourself. Okay? We see the brutality of the past, but we also see that the gift you've been given is something quite grand and amazing that can offer healing to the world once you first heal yourself and know that you can trust yourself unequivocally. All right, so let's get some more out here for you. What a powerful message. All right, thank you. On the bottom of the deck, we have air energy with Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, open-mindedness, objectivity, and learning. This has been a mountain for you to climb. I feel like self-love has probably been like one of the hardest journeys that you've had to take, because you're constantly fighting against these feelings of not being good enough or not deserving love. And those are the feelings and thoughts that have been pushed into you and hammered into your head from other people. It's not true. Maybe that's how they felt, but that's not true for you. So you're carrying other people's burdens and assuming them as your own, which is understandable, especially if you're very empathic. So this has been a mountain to climb, but if you keep an open mind and you remember that you're moving into a state of unconditional love, you will learn how to open your heart to others in a very profound way. I'd catch a grenade for ya. Throw my hand on a blade for ya. Girl, I'd do anything for ya. Oh, I would go through all this pain. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, I feel like they're saying this song coming through because it's like, this is the things that you need to do for yourself. For someone to show up and not necessarily go through gruesome things, but like that idea, this is someone who's in your corner no matter what you go through, the good, the bad, everything that is difficult, while also supporting you through all the good times. You know, in order to do that, or in order to ask somebody to have that for you, you have to have that for yourself, right? Pioneer, yeah, making new pathways. Passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. Letting the idea of love be the guide for you, and know that there's always hope. Even if it is meager, it is no small thing. The shadow is compulsive need to keep on moving, right? So the healing asks us to be present with what it is that's arising. You know, and I had this realization. I was journaling the other day about presence with our emotions, and the best way that I can give you an idea of how better to do that. Everybody's had a leg or an arm, a hand, a toe, foot fall asleep, right? Like you've had an appendage fall asleep on your body. And the first thing that we do when something falls asleep is we start shaking the crap out of it to bring it back, or we smack it, or we rub it, or we're trying to control the sensation, right? We're trying to control it. We want it to come back because it's uncomfortable when a part of us falls asleep. It's very uncomfortable. It's tingly, and it has, like, we're not sure, but we're overwhelmed by the feeling, right? And this is our emotions. So we look at one of our appendages falling asleep like our emotions, right? And so the best way that I can liken this to is in yoga. When that happens in yin yoga, they ask us to sit with it. Don't move. Continue to sit with the discomfort of something being asleep. This is also something you learn in meditation, like sitting cross-legged for a long time. One of your legs can fall asleep, especially if you're not used to sitting cross-legged for a long time, which is very uncomfortable at first, highly uncomfortable. But if the next time you have something fall asleep, instead of trying to control the sensation coming back to what feels comfortable, sit with the tingling. Sit through the sharp pains. Sit through when it's starting to feel again. And that's even uncomfortable too, right? This is how we sit with our emotions. Rather than reacting, we just go through the phases of whatever our emotions are bringing. And so it's like when you ask yourself to trust yourself, what comes with that? Like, I trust my inner strength. I trust myself. On the affirmations on my screen, that just popped up on the screen right now. I looked up and it just said that. So when you ask if I trust myself, what does that bring up for you? And sit with it. Sit with all the discomfort. Let it go through all of its levels that it's going to go through and what that brings. Believe in yourself. Yeah. So how do you open yourself up to a healthy romantic relationship? Is by believing in yourself and believing that it's something that can happen for you, even if it's not something you're seeing with your own two eyes here. Believing is seeing. Seeing isn't necessarily believing. But we've been led to think that it is, right? And that's not always the truth. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? This one wants to come out. Okay, on the bottom, we have peacock. Let yourself stand out and be noticed. Exactly what I felt this entire time, right? Owning yourself, not being afraid of what's coming for you, not being afraid of yourself and the gifts that you have. Because I feel like they get the better of you sometimes. It's like not the gifts, but the fear of the gifts, the fear of what retribution it's going to bring. Chemistry. There's a strong magnetic attraction here. This is having that magnetic attraction come from within. When you believe and own yourself, that's something that will get mirrored out to the right person at the right time. Okay? And until then, just trust that they're not going to come into your energy field until you're ready to receive them. Right? It's not like you're going to do something wrong or you're going to miss a perfect chance here. No, just trusting that when you love and cherish and believe in yourself, that's when Source will move mountains to bring this person into your life. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Thank you. Okay. On the bottom, we have abundance, a positive mindset. Exactly. Manifest gratitude and bliss and blessings, trusting in the abundance in your life already. You have a ton of abundance in your life, pile one. And I feel like it's just hard to see because you've been dealing with so much backlash from the emotional trauma of life happening to you, which is understandable. Look, conjunction, a union, a merging, a coming together, coming back to self. This is how you bring in this connection, is coming back to yourself and trusting that you are worthy of love. Oh my gosh, this card is going to show up when I said that this person's going to fight for you, but not like a knight. But Source is like, but kind of like a knight, you know? Kind of. Yeah, so we have loyalty, romance, and chivalry, a love of honor. That's exactly, thank you, Source, so much. That's the type of person they are. And it's going to be something that's spiritual first. And then we have the shadow is allegiance to destructive ruler or principle, romantic delusions. Yeah, so they're going to come in like this very chivalrous, honorable, integral knight. Turkey spirit, give with gratitude and grace. So it's important for you to maintain an element of gratitude in your life. Already thanking Source for the love and the light that's in your life, for the romantic connection that you have. Act as if you already have it. Wow, unicorn. Indulge your creative, imaginative, and magical side through some form of artistic expression. Put your gift out there, whatever it is. It can be artistic. It doesn't have to be psychic. It's just, we have psychic with the dice up here, but you could be someone who's a really good painter, really good drawer, someone who's into music. Remembering that all of those things bring us closer to source. So that technically is a psychic connection, right? Pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. Right? So when those feelings of doubt come up, paying attention to them as they're arising within you, like I said, mistrust and feelings of neglect are fighting for a seat at the head of the table right now. Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. So that could be coming from an ex in your life. A lot of those emotions, but that ex could have also been a culmination of all the trauma that you went through as a child. And it manifested in him so that you could face it head on. Yeah, engagement ring, a higher commitment, eternity, a partnership and union, completion. Okay, so Source wants to bring you into this higher commitment, someone who's going to blow your mind. All right, not today. Boundaries unheard, avoiding conversation, not dealing, and you're still upset. So again, we're still dealing with the past, which is why Release Your Ex came out, right? Being thankful that they're gone and that they gave you the lessons they gave you, but also remembering that now I get to trust myself. I don't have to lose myself for trusting myself, right? Cupid's arrow, have faith. Love is coming, surprise invitation, and struck by love. That's it. This is a new person that's coming in. They're going to surprise you. Like, it's the whole situation is going to surprise you. It's just like, and it might not be something that comes in like a, you know, like, what is that song? Love's Not Like That by Faith Hill. Don't hit you right between the eyes someday. What is it? How does that go? It's like, don't fall like a tiny drop of rain. Hit you right between the eyes someday. No love. Love ain't like that. Can't roll the, put your money down and just roll the dice. Hope you're gonna make it big some night. No love. Love ain't like that, right? That's not how it is. Love is not some quick fix to life. It's something that builds over time. But I feel like so many people have gotten lost in this idea that it has to be some quick fix to life. Like it has to save me from the hardships that I've been going through in my life. And that's the only way it's going to work. But if it doesn't come quick like that, then it's not right for me. But that's not right. That's not true. Right? Love is beautiful when we allow it to blossom. And so I feel like that's what's coming for you, Pile 1. So let's take a look at your dragon card. I'm going to read this from the book. We've got Air Dragon. And you also got the air energy on the bottom of the deck. So you could be an air sign or have air sign highly aspect in your chart or have an air trine. It says help you rise above earthly matters, which we see that mistrust and lack of compassion and self-love. Those are earthly matters. Coming back into alignment is us stepping into unconditional love for ourselves. It says communicate honestly, brings inspiration and hope. See life from a higher perspective. And I love that. Brings hope. Hope, even when meager or when small, is no meager thing. Okay? Like that's such a powerful thing for you. All right, let's see where Air Dragon is. All right, I opened up almost right to it. So it says Air Dragon suggests that you take things lightly. So choosing this card indicates that you should relax and look at part of your life from a higher perspective. Air Dragons also inspire you to communicate honestly but loving in a way that calms and soothes everyone around you and promotes good outcomes. Honest communication will bring pure white light into your aura, and when this happens, everybody will trust and respect you. Wow. So again, coming back to that idea of trust and respect, but it comes with trusting and respecting yourself first and being honest with yourself first. Oh, my nose is itching. Oy. Okay. Whew. It says blue air dragons are supporting you as you rise above your challenges. They will help you say the most tactful or inspirational words and assist you to stand in your power with integrity. Breathe blue and white light into your heart center, and as an air dragon appears in front of you, breathe the light over it. In this way, you are energizing and motivating it so that it will always be connected to you. It is time to decide on your next steps, so be clear about what you really want. Your air dragon will accompany as you fly towards your chosen destiny. So again, Source is reminding you, love, a higher commitment is a part of your journey. Right now, for you to attract a healthy romantic relationship, it's about building that healthy romantic relationship with yourself. Be the lover to yourself that you want someone to be to you, and that will open up the doorways for you to bring in the partner that was always meant to be here with you on the journey, okay? So this is what I see here for you today, Pile 1. What a beautiful reading and what an amazing energy you have. If you felt like this was your reading, leave a little diamond emoji down below and say, I commit. I commit to respecting, honoring, admiring, supporting, and cherishing myself, knowing this opens my heart for true romantic love. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. I would like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message. And until next time, pile number 1, stay human. Bye. Welcome back, my fellow human. If you were drawn to this dice with the Saturn on it, or perhaps you were called to this piece of amethyst, or maybe you were drawn to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship. If you're new, welcome. I do things differently here on this channel. Triggering statements may arise on the readings themselves. Remember, there's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers can be a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. If the message happens to resonate, it would mean the world to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Your time and your energy are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm honored to be here sharing it with you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out what can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship. Pile number 2. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? You know, it's interesting because I feel like you've been feeling ashamed, or afraid, hurt, and rejected. Like there's these fragmented parts of you that are keeping you feeling small when it comes to asking for love. It's almost like you don't know what to ask for. Like, it's like, you know, you want love and you know you want a healthy connection, but it's like asking for what I want. Like, how do I ask for what I want when I'm not even sure what a healthy dynamic looks like? And then it's like, when you think you know what a healthy dynamic is, if that comes into your life, you run away from it because it feels so uncertain to you. But it's not that it's uncertain. It's just that oftentimes love, healthy love, is boring when you have felt the sting and the chaos of a toxic love. And so that boring, slow presence that's constant and consistent can feel very overwhelming. At the same time, it can feel very underwhelming. And that conundrum, or paradox, if you will, leaves one feeling as though this isn't the right type of connection for me because of that. And so I feel like that's something that's coming through here, even before we get into it, is that it's understanding what healthy love is and what healthy love isn't. And healthy love is not the chaos or trauma bonding that you may have experienced in your previous relationships. And trauma bonding comes with an immediate attraction. And healthy love doesn't always come with an immediate attraction. Attraction grows over time. And that can feel scary too, because, you know, this person, or if someone comes in and they're like, I'm in love with you, and you're like, I don't really feel the same, but it's only been a little bit of time. You know, it's okay to give it some more time to understand where you're at. And maybe you're not going to fall in love with that person, and that's okay. But it's trusting that healthy dynamics they might start off very slow and boring like this, and that's okay. And being okay with that process. And I feel like that's something you really need to hear, Pile 2, because I do feel like you felt fragmented along the way, and there's a lot of shame and feelings of being hurt and feelings of being disconnected from what love could really be. Interesting. Okay, so we have third house energy. Yeah, that's not surprising. Taurus and Neptune. Self-love is vital to you attracting a healthy relationship. I feel like you lose yourself in relationships, or you've had a tendency to lose yourself in relationships. There's been a lot of learned behaviors when you were growing up, when there was a lot of uncertainty. You were the person that leveled out the dynamic for the family. So if a parent came home and a parent was in a bad mood, you were the one that was overcompensating for their bad mood. So it's like, okay, they're in a really bad mood, so in order to protect myself from a dangerous situation, I'm going to try to burden their emotions, even though at a young age, you didn't know how to do that in a constructive way, and nor was it ever your responsibility, but it was a learned behavior to protect yourself. And stability looks boring to you because you've never known what stability is, even since you were a young child. And so stability is actually something that looks like walking into the unknown, which immediately brings with it a sense of fear. And it also brings with it a feeling like, oh, you know, like I'm not attracted to this person like they are to me, and I feel bad about that. Like, you know, how do I get myself to that point of being attracted to them like that? And I feel like what you're looking for in a romantic relationship is that immediate firework attraction, which is actually reminiscent of trauma bonding. And trauma bonding can already at the beginning predicts an unhealthy attachment, codependency. It can talk about unhealthy relationship dynamics. It can talk about unbalanced give and take situations where someone's carrying the entire connection. And so for you, it's finding what stability is in self-care. The monotony of the routine is actually the reality of life. And that can be very frightening because you have grown accustomed to living life on the edge of your seat, right? Like, when is someone going to come home in a bad mood? When is someone going to come home where I need to compensate for something that's lacking? Or when is someone going to come home where I feel like I need to support the dynamic because they're suffering? But when you're in a healthy situation, this person has the ability to monitor, manage, and facilitate their own healing, which means it takes the responsibility back to themselves and it's not giving it to you, which is something you're very used to carrying. And that feels as though you are feeling like you're lacking. And that's not the truth at all. But we see that this is a learned behavior with the third house here. This is what you have rationalized as balancing out the relationship. So when someone comes in a balanced state already, there is no push and pull dynamic. It's literally just a parallel journey with both of you. And because there's no perpendicular surprise changes where they're crashing into you and you're having to recover from that, it feels as though it's not sound or it's not safe. And so that's why Source is saying it is vital for you to become comfortable with the monotony of self-care, the day in and day out routines that create stability in our lives. And when you find stability and peace with those daily routines, knowing that that's just going to be your life for the rest of your life. It's showing up and working out, eating breakfast, meditating, journaling, going to work, coming home, you know, taking care of what you take care of. It's the same thing day in and day out. That is what peace looks like. But when you've never grown up in a situation of peace, that looks chaotic. But one day you'll open your heart and you'll realize that this is the peace that you've been looking for all along. So let's dig in a little bit deeper and find out what Source would like to say. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Pile number 2. Yeah. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? What would you like to share with us today, Source? Thank you. Pile 2. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Thank you, Source. Yeah. Oh, pile 2. I want to give you a big hug. really do. I really, really do. This energy. It's just something that is holding on. It's like having been tossed in molasses or tar and feathers, right? Like, it's just so sticky and icky, and it's just holding on to you because it's just become comfortable for you, even though it's highly irregular for your nervous system. But your nervous system has been on high alert for so long that when it comes into a state of peace, that moment, you might relish in it for a short amount of time, but then you start waiting. It's like you're crouched in the corner just waiting for something to explode. You're waiting for something to come in where you have to go back on the defense. You've just been in survival mode for so long. Yeah, this is something that's very clear here. Okay. And with the Ace of Swords here, like, the truth of the situation is that so many of your connections have been very one-sided connections in your past. And again, I'm getting that energy where I feel like when you love, or when you have loved in the past, I feel like many of you are single right now, or you're looking at becoming single in the near future. And I feel like you are in a state where it's like, in the past, when you were in relationships, you have lost yourself to this person. Like, you gave everything, right? You bore your soul to this person. You gave them your soul. You gave them power over you. You gave them every little thing that you had, every love that you had, every good word that you had, every support that you had. You might have gotten sick a lot of the times because you were constantly giving to these people. You could have you could have gained some weight. You could have lost some weight. You could have gone through where your skin was really bad and breaking out a lot, or like where you were losing hair, or where you were dealing with a lot of body aches, or you had like some mysterious illness that the doctors could never tell you what it was, because it was just, you had all these symptoms, but they didn't have anything to match it to. And all of that was happening because of these very superficial connections that you had in the past. People who didn't want to lose themselves in you, but found power in running your life and expecting you to run your life for them. And that made you feel like you were never worthy of love to begin with. Like, it made you feel like you were only here to serve chaos. And that's not true at all. And this is about you seeking the truth of balance and trusting that you can build something stable within yourself first. Because for many of you, you're still in the midst of your healing. And so a romantic relationship right now in this moment is not going to be the most beneficial situation for you. Because you're going to still be repeating certain dynamics in those situations. And so right now it's about finding the truth of yourself. How much have you given yourself to past situations, and why? Why was it so important for you to ensure that they were fed, that they were clothed, that you did their laundry, you made sure that you cooked all the meals, you cleaned the house, you supported their dreams, you were the one that was put on the back burner, like they made the money and you had to ask for money, whatever the situation was. I'm just feeling that you had no power. It was almost like this was your captor in some ways, that they lorded that over you. And anytime you tried to step out of that, or to free yourself, or to find some sense of identity within yourself, they would come in even twice as hard and push you back down. And that oftentimes left a lot of scars on you. And they also, I feel like this is someone in the past who used sex over you as well. There might have been a promise or a contract. Yeah, okay. So this feels like a promise or a contract where maybe you were very sexual and you liked being, sexually active with someone, especially your partner, you're like, yeah, like I feel like we can go all the time. Like I just really like how it feels, and I want to be with someone I can trust, and I want to have that dynamic with somebody. And they may have lorded that over you, where it was like when you started feeling disconnected and thus not feeling sexy, not feeling attractive, not feeling like you could perform, right? Then it was like, they were like, well, but remember, you always said you were going to have sex with me. You always said you were going to lay in bed with me. And why now? Are you cheating on me? Like, there was a lot of accusations here. It was a contract based on a physical connection. It was very immature. And this has really, really burdened you a lot with reason. Why this hurts, it's with reason, but it's also because you gave this person permission, and it's not, you're not to blame. Okay, you're not to blame. Let's just get that out of the way first, because I need you to know that you were not to blame for this situation. It's how you grew up trying to protect yourself. And so this was a learned action to a really gross dynamic in your family. You were the support system at an early age, and that was such a burden to carry as a child. You needed someone who you could depend on, and yet you became the dependent. You became the dependable one. It's like, how are you going to put so much pressure on a child? And so right now, how do you attract a healthy dynamic? It's about learning this truth of how much you give of yourself to others without regard for yourself in any situation, whether that's family, friends, lovers. It's understanding how much of yourself you're giving away without setting solid boundaries for yourself, especially with the Seven of Cups coming out here. It's learning to set those very solid emotional boundaries for yourself and recognizing, pile 2, that no is a complete sentence. There need not be any explanation except that this is a no. That's it. It's a no. And I feel like you would benefit, like right now, say it, no. Say it again. Say it with feeling. Say it from the bottom of your gut. Now I want you to scream it out loud. I already know some of you are crying because I can feel it. I can feel it. It's scary. But no is a complete sentence. You don't need anything else. And if people are demanding an explanation to your no instead of respecting you, then it's looking at that. Would I normally fold and give this person what they want because I feel like I owe them something? Because you don't owe anybody anything. Okay? Right now, you owe it to yourself to love and care for and cherish yourself, to take care of yourself and to be there for yourself and to honor a deeper truth within yourself. Why am I letting unstable dynamics or superficial dynamics become all of me? You are not identifying with you're not meant to identify with these ideas. You're not meant to identify with the broken heart. It's experiences that are happening to you, but who are you, pile 2? The main question here is learning, who am I when I'm by myself? Who am I when I'm in a connection? And what's different between those things? And why am I different between those things? So right now, how you attract a healthy romantic dynamic and relationship is by learning who you are without somebody in your energy, because you happen to lose yourself in those dynamics. And that's okay. Like, that's not something to feel bad about, right? Like, that is something that's very common. In fact, for those of you that just need that extra boost of energy, leave a number 2 down below in the comment section so that you can show other pile 2s. You're not alone. You're not weird for this. You're not different because of this. And you're not some strange, weird entity that's walking earth, that you're the only person in the world that has done this. You're not. I have done this. I have gone through this. I've lost myself in family dynamics and friendship dynamics and in relationship dynamics. There was one day when I looked in the mirror and the person I saw looking back at me was a skeleton. I didn't know who that person was. I didn't know anything about her. I didn't know what she liked. I didn't know what she wanted to say. I didn't know what was in her heart. And the journey to finding that has been a difficult one, but has been so rewarding. I want you to know, pile 2, you are not alone. And here's my number 2 for you, because I've been there. And I've done it. And if I can do it, I know you can. Because you are strong and powerful, and you deserve real love. Real love. Not that superficial BS that people try to pass off as love today. Wow. So we have Libra flying over here. We have consideration, fairness, and harmony. And what this feels like is bringing back balance. You've been living in an unbalanced state for so long that balance is so different from what you know. And trusting in that process is going to be a powerful action for you. Okay, so we have Aries and Aquarius, because Aquarius wanted to be seen. We have independence, bravery, and passion. And then we also have originality, philanthropy, and progressive imaginings. It's okay for you to become detached for a while and carve new pathways for yourself with this Aries energy. If you don't know how to be detached from the world, find an Aquarius and ask them how they do it, because they are so powerful at being detached from everything and everyone. Like, they are so good at that, and they can teach us some very valuable lessons in regards to that. Okay, you're going to get 2 of these on the bottom of the deck. Here we go. This is, bully. Highlights your tendency to intimidate others and helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. Those are those fears. They're bullying you. We have conceals a deep fear behind verbal or physical abuse. You've been bullied so much in your life by people who said they loved you. And the thing is that because you felt small, you didn't know how to stand up for yourself. And there's no blaming yourself for that. There's no looking at your younger self and being like, how could you? How could you let me go through this? Because then the question becomes pile 1 or pile 2. The real question is how could you have known how to do differently? You didn't. Give yourself grace and compassion for not knowing how to do differently. But it doesn't mean that you can't learn. Okay? Sing your own song. Who are you, pile 2? That's the thing that matters the most right now. Who are you? Who are you? Just need to love myself. There's this song out there. I need to effing love myself. I think that's the name of the song. It's like, no matter how I try, it's like I don't feel like I recognize the person who's staring back at me. I just need to effing love myself. I don't know it well enough to sing it, but that's the song. And I can't remember who sings it. It's just, I need to effing love myself. I think that's the name of the song. Yeah, Peacock, let yourself stand out. Be noticed. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there anymore. Right? And it's not about dating with an end result. It's about dating to gain experience and wisdom and to learn how to discern better situations for yourself. But also creating very, very profound emotional boundaries. Not losing yourself just because someone says they're attracted to you, which can be really hard when you've had dynamics like this in your past. Because the minute someone's like starts to gaslight you or starts to love bomb you, it's easy to fall into that and believe that this is the person for me. But it's about seeing how often that happens when it's just for an end result, which oftentimes is the physical, okay? Yes, yeah, exactly. It's for the physical. Seduction. We have attraction, teasing, hooking up, and date, third party, and temptation, right? This very immature approach to sex. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people are out there love bombing just so they can get laid. That is something that, it's unfortunate that it happens so much. And then the even more unfortunate thing is that we have really good souls out there who are falling for that love bombing, believing that it's something more than what it really is. And that's what you're learning. You're learning how to see love bombing for what it is and not fall for it just because it sounds good. And I feel like that's just a process. Okay, we have this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. Before you get excited, okay? This is you. You're the romantic partner that you seek. Okay, this is about learning to love yourself, being the romantic connection to yourself that you need in life. And when you're that person to yourself, then you're able to bring in a healthy romantic dynamic because you're giving yourself everything you've ever asked for or wanted in a relationship. Pay attention to the red flags. The signs are cautioning you. And I feel like your intuition definitely does ring a couple of bells when things are off. But I feel like sometimes the emotional ego wants something so badly that it's pushing aside those red flags and it's convincing you like, no, this person's saying everything that I want, making you feel good. That's the emotional ego, right? Making you feel good. It's telling you everything you've ever wanted to hear. Most of the time when you find the person that you're going to go far with, like, they're not going to tell you everything you want to hear, but the things that they're going to say are going to make sense, right? And so that's why it's important for us to realize, like, is this something I always fall for love bombing? Like, that was my kryptonite. That love bombing was my kryptonite. And now I can pick it out from a mile away. I'm like, nope, that's love bombing. I'm not going to go down that road. Not today. And I never regret saying goodbye to people like that. Never. Express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. Love yourself. Express your love to yourself, okay? All right, so we've got companion. Ooh, we've got loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. See, this is the energy that you're in. But then the shadow is betrayal by misusing confidences and loss of personal identity. So see, they're being very clear here, like you lose yourself in connections. That's why it's important for you to be grounded in a connection with yourself and understand what it means for you to stand powerful with yourself and to continue empowering yourself when you do get a connection. We have a storyteller, ability to experience and express life through stories and symbols. And the shadow is making up tales that harm others. See, this is what's been happening. People making up stories to harm you and it's not like it's necessarily intentional. It's just, who can I bamboozle to get what I want? And oftentimes the outcome is a sexual encounter with someone, just a number to add to the dozens of others they have. Okay? Yeah, vulture spirit, nothing is wasted. Vultures are often misunderstood, and they don't need to be, because they're necessary. You know, they clear away disease. They clear away the bad. They make room for new to grow. And I feel like that's what's happening right now, is that this is helping you to clear away the old by loving yourself so that you can make room for that peaceful, gentle, present love to come in, which feels vastly different than that chaotic love that you might be used to, pile 2. Ooh, we have Emu. I always think of Emu when this comes up. And Doug. Says this is a good time to go on a new adventure. Yeah, so don't be afraid to put yourself out there, right? We're not saying you don't have to date or like you can't connect with people, but do so with caution and continuing to love yourself, okay? Like, that's the thing. I don't feel like a romantic connection is the right thing for you right now. However, dating is a different story because there's no commitment there in dating until you decide to be monogamous with someone. The minute you decide to be monogamous with someone, then it's different. And I don't recommend sleeping with the people that you're just dating. Like, I recommend holding yourself true until you really do have monogamy in your relationship, right? Like, that's something that I really believe. It's a safety thing, and it's also a trust thing, right? Like, you're building that trust with that person. And so that's something that I really believe, especially for my women out there, okay? Also, it's a good practice for men. It really is, because it's a reminder that you're holding yourself responsible, but you're also holding up your integrity for yourself and reminding yourself to respect yourself in a connection, right? You're not just out here trying to get to bust a nut, for a lack of better term for you here. Partying, time with friends, having fun, happily single, and living in the moment. Yeah, so right now it's important for you to enjoy the single life, what that brings and what that means for you, and learning what that means to you, pile 2, from a place of self-love, okay, and healthy choices. I can't make this energy up. It is very clear. Self-love and self-care, being happier, love, and life. It's time for you to love yourself. That's the main thing here for you. This is how you attract a healthy romantic relationship in your life, is by loving yourself unconditionally, being the partner you want in your life to yourself. Because you're making space for that person to manifest then in your life. Because you're showing source, like, I already have it, which you do. You are the love that you've been seeking. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to read this card from the book. Silver Dragon. Interesting. It says, illuminate your potential with higher light. Access untapped resources. Look into your soul. see higher possibilities. So coming into that soul connection here with yourself, okay? So let's see where Silver Dragon is. Oh, I opened up there. There we go. It's right there. Okay. So this is a 5th dimensional dragon. 5th dimension is also a higher self. Your 5th dimensional blueprint, soul blueprint, contains the keys and codes of your gifts, talents, wisdom, and powers, your self-empowerment. Much of this is locked away and unused. Receiving this card suggests that it's time for some of this potential to be ignited and brought forward into your life. You are ready to reveal yourself and be who you can truly be. Who are you, Pile 2? Excuse me. It says, sit quietly and see or sense the shimmering silver dragon who has come to you. Allow it to reflect back to you the hidden aspects of your soul and your higher possibilities. This may or may not be a conscious process, but it will inspire you to express your essence and transform your life. Be ready to develop any gifts or qualities that the dragon draws to your attention. You may surprise yourself. So who are you? That's the key wisdom here, is learning who you are. And when you find out who you are without romance in your life, but by being the romantic partner to yourself that you want, then you can open up to a healthy romantic relationship, because you'll always consider yourself first instead of losing yourself in connections, which has been the pattern in regards to this situation. I'm so sorry you had to go through this, and I believe in you, Pile 2. I want you to know that. I believe in you, and I know you can. Like I said, if I can, I know you can, because I'm human just like you. We can do this together, and I support you, and I'm cheering you on always, okay? I love you so much, Pile 2. You're an amazing individual, and remember that you matter. So today, if you felt like this was your reading, leave the little white heart emoji down below and just say, I matter. All in capital letters. I matter, because you do, and you need to remember that always. If it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. I'd like to take a moment to thank your guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming together to give us this truly powerful message today. And until next time, pile number 2, stay human. Bye. Welcome back, my fellow human, and if you're new here, thanks for joining us. If you felt called to this dice with the sun on it, or if you felt called to this raw piece of rose quartz, or perhaps you felt called to this card during the shuffle, this is going to be a reading on what can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship. I do things differently here on this channel. There may be triggering statements that do arise on the readings themselves. Remember, there's no obligation to force it to fit, while keeping in mind that triggers are a beautiful blueprint for us to deepen our healing journey. And if it resonates, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. Your time, your energy, and your presence are a true gift and a blessing, and I'm so deeply grateful to have you here. So with that, let's go ahead and hop to it and find out, Pile 3, what can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Source, what would you like to share with us for Pile 3 today? What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? There's a mourning dove outside. I haven't seen one since I've been here, actually since I first showed up where I'm at, which was 2 months ago. But it's interesting because mourning doves are they're a reminder of our passed on loved ones, and they're about mourning. And so I feel like there's a need for experiencing your grief, letting go of a past situation here. It could be an ex, but it could just be an old version of yourself, or an old paradigm or belief that, you had been living in, or even just reminiscing about the past sometimes can bring us into those lower vibrations because we're not having that in our lives right now, someone we're making memories with. And we can oftentimes convince ourselves that past circumstances and situations were much more beautiful than they were. And we can kind of pull the wool over our own eyes. And so with this mourning dove here, I feel like it's very important for you to grieve a past situation, to really let go and release the burden of it from you, and remind yourself that Everything has happened exactly the way that it was meant to. And you're even right now, right here in this moment, exactly as you're meant to be in this moment, even if that is single or without a romantic love in your life, that this all is bringing much higher, more beautiful things into your life, and to trust that. But you don't have to hold on to the past thinking that that was all that you were going to get. Okay, so we've got the 12th house. Yeah, grief. Wow, we've got the 12th house. We've got Capricorn, and we've got Pluto. Yeah, so dealing with the grief here. You know, and the 12th house talks about those things that we've lost, right? Like death. It can talk about loss. Pluto can talk about loss, like a birth, rebirth, and transformation coming in as well. And so I feel like with Capricorn here, there's something here that will work with you as long as you're willing to go into maybe the shadow that has been very difficult for you to deal with. You know, and there's this energy that's coming in where it's like, even though you know the past was maybe a toxic situation, and maybe for some of you it wasn't a toxic situation, but I want to say this for those of you that feel like it was a toxic situation, that honoring the loss of that person, right? Not the person that you were with, but the person that you were. Honoring the loss of that person is oftentimes that we don't do that along our journey. We forget that it's important to remember that there's a piece of us that has changed along this journey, and we're so ready to let go, but along with letting go comes grief. It's just natural. And so at the 12th house here, there's a healing that's coming through when you're putting in the work of that transformative energy of what grief can bring, and going through the 5 stages. Also, for those of you that maybe it wasn't a toxic situation, it was just like a mutual understanding or an agreement that you come to, it's saying that when you see that person, you're reminiscing about the memories, that it's okay for you to grieve the loss of that person as well, right? That helps bring closure to this moment and to the situation. Maybe if we're not getting closure from that person, but we can give it to ourselves by experiencing those stages of grief, whether that is the bargaining stage, the anger stage, the denial stage, the sadness. I can't remember all of them, but I do know the last one is acceptance. And it's just accepting that this isn't a part of my life anymore. This is the new normal, is what my life is now. I feel like that's something that's really powerful for you in helping to attract a healthy romantic love into your life. And, you know, even like I said, it doesn't have to necessarily be toxic, but it might not have been a healthy dynamic. And that can sometimes, like, the person was a really good person, but maybe we argued a lot, or we just didn't have the same goals, or we believed in different things, or we were headed on different paths. Sometimes it's really hard for people to let go of individuals like that, because the person themselves might not have been a bad person. It was just, there was a dissonance in the paths that you were going to take. And ultimately, that would have been a deciding factor in whether or not you could have stayed together. Is there enough room to compromise in situations like that? And if you're single, you see that there wasn't enough room for compromise, and that's okay. That's okay, and it's okay to be sad about that. And I feel like the other thing is, too, is that it's okay to be angry about toxic situations that you've had to say goodbye to in the past. And a lot of people give anger a bad rep, and anger can be very toxic when we're projecting it out onto everybody, but it's natural to feel anger on your experience in life. That anger needs to be expressed, and that can be through writing, it could be through drawing, it could be through scream therapy, it could be through, you know, going out and just talking to yourself and getting it off your chest, everything that you're feeling. Whatever it is, it's just important to get it out. And I feel like anger is the one that's coming through the most here in regards to this reading in the beginning. And so part of you finding a very constructive way to express your anger will help you know how to express it when you are in a dynamic with someone else, rather than projecting, which may have been the go-to in the past. And that's okay. Please, there's no beating yourself up. Many of us have struggled with finding expressive ways for our anger, and we've learned from society and others that the best way to do it is to attack each other and to project it out onto others. In fact, we see it so much if you watch reality TV. or even in politics, or even just, you know, like even on sitcoms and stuff, like anger is oftentimes just projected out onto each other. So we don't really have a lot of feedback, even from our own family and friends, where anger is expressed in a healthy, non-projective way. And so it's just about learning how to express your anger in a very conducive way to your journey. So let's see if we can get some more out on this. Pile number 3. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Pile number 3. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Remembering that you are strong, that you are capable. It's okay for you to be different than everyone around you. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Wow, this card, it wants to come out this way. Okay. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Pile number 3. Okay, thank you. What can you do to attract a healthy romantic relationship? Pile number 3. Yeah. Bottom of the deck, we have the 5 of coins in the upright. This is a big shift. You know, with the House of God coming out in the reverse, it's like not wanting to face reality. So there's things that happen between you and other people where you immediately shut down, right? So if things aren't going your way, you have a tendency to shut down. If anger arises, you have a tendency to shut down. If, you know, things don't unfold the way that you expected them to, you have a tendency to shut down. And that's what the House of God is talking about in the reverse. It's just not wanting to face reality. I'd rather just run away from it instead of seeing it as the opportunity that it may be. And opportunities are not always positive at face value. Like oftentimes they can seem very negative and discouraging, but it's how we choose to observe them when they arise in our lives. Like, are we seeing them as an opportunity for us to heal a little bit more? Are we seeing this as an opportunity to try something new, you know, to express ourselves in a new way? Are we seeing this as an opportunity to alter the way that, you know, we show up in a dynamic? It could be anything like that. But oftentimes we see it as like, oh, this is a burden. It's terrible. It's awful. I don't want to face this. Like, just get rid of this from my life. Like, that's what being happy and positive means, is so I never have to deal with hardships again. And that's a great sentiment. Pile 3, let me tell you, that's a great sentiment. I've been there too. I thought that's what the journey of positivity was all about, but you get humbled really quick and you realize that the journey of positivity is just us changing the way we see everything that's going to inevitably happen to us in this 3D realm. And grief is a part of it. And grief is a reminder of the love that we spent in regards to that connection, whether that was someone we love deeply, an animal we love deeply, or a love that we thought we had for someone and realized that it wasn't love at all. It's just a reminder that there was a part of ourselves that we gifted in that time. And that's what grief is. It's a testimony to that, and remembering that grief is a necessary part of life and there's no getting away from it. We were talking a lot about grief here, but it's just coming out so strongly for your pile here. Okay, we've got the Empress. Okay. So for you to find stability back again in your life, it's not pushing people away when things get rough. Okay, and this is how you find a healthy romantic relationship, is by opening up and sharing those difficulties with others. So as I was saying, like, it feels like when your emotions get out of control or feel like they're about to get out of control, your go-to defense mechanism is to shut down, or it could be to project, right? And that's okay. No judgment here. I have lived in a state of various differing things. I have shut down. I have gone into the silent mode. I have projected my anger out onto people. I have done it all. Okay, so you are not alone, and that's life, and it's just very human of us to do what feels right in the moment, or what our emotional ego convinces us is right for us in that moment. And I feel like, you know, we have this misconcept in the world that the louder you are, the more powerful or crazy you are. And really, the louder you are, it's showing the less control you have over yourself. And sometimes it's a really hard thing to honor and to take accountability for, when it's like, I just want to be heard, or I want to be seen, or I want to be understood. And so right now it's like and the Empress wanted to come out in the upright, right? It started out in the reverse, but it wanted to come out in the upright. And so I feel like protecting yourself is reminding yourself that all of these emotions are a normal part of life, and the things that happen outside of my control, they're going to make me feel various different ways. And that includes the way that people show up. But I cannot control how people show up. I can't even ask people to take accountability for how they show up, because there's no point in that, right? Even if we want to, there's no point in that. We can't expect people to take accountability. We can't expect honesty from others. We can't expect anything from anyone else. We can only do that with ourselves. So how you want people to show up for yourself, the main thing is showing up like that for you, right? You want to live in a state of honor, then be honorable to yourself. You want to live in a state of honesty, then be honest and brutally honest with yourself. That means looking at things you'd rather not look at, right? If you want to be loyal to yourself, right? These are things that are going to help you balance out from this situation that was in the past. But at the highlight of your reading, we have the Temperance in the reverse, which is showing that it's easier right now for you to push people away than it is to accept help, or to even admit that maybe you're going through something that's very challenging or hard. For you to express your emotions to another person, that feels almost painful to me right now. Like, I feel it in my gut and I feel it in my throat. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to tell you that I'm going through something hard. I don't even want to be honest that I'm not okay. What is that song by Chemical Romance? If you know who I'm talking about, but it's like, I'm not okay. You might find some additional messages from that song, but that's the song that I'm hearing right now. I'm not okay. And it's by Chemical Romance. And I can't, it's been so long since I've heard it. Like, seriously, it's been years since I've heard that song. So I couldn't sing it to you, but it's like, I'm not okay. Right? I'm not effing K. It says that at one point in there. And it's like, that's the feeling that I'm getting. It's like, I don't want to share with others that I'm not okay, because I'm so used to being the strong one, or I'm so used to being the one that other people can lean on. I'm the one that people come to for support, but no one's there supporting me. So why would I ever go to that extra mile to sharing that I'm not okay? Because if I share with them that I'm not okay and they just push me aside, like I've been pushed aside in the past by lovers or by friends or whatever, right? We're looking at romantic relationships. So it's safe to say that many of you have experienced that in a romantic relationship, where you thought this was a person that I should be able to lean on and trust to support me when times get tough. But when that happened and I was pushed away or invalidated or said that my emotions don't matter, I was put in some very precarious positions. Why would I put myself out there in that vulnerable state for that to happen now? But the other thing is that if you don't ask for help, the people who do genuinely want to help you will never know. And that's the thing, is like, sometimes you have to go through the bad situations or the people who aren't going to be there for you so that you can find the people who will be for you. Because up until that point, you're never going to truly know which ones are superficial connections or not, if you're the one that's holding everybody at arm's length. Because what that says, Pile 2, is that everybody in your life is already in a superficial state, because you're never allowing them to see the real you that's behind the mask of I'm okay. And that's why it's hard for you to attract a healthy romantic dynamic in your life, because then what happens is you have a partner who comes in and then expects you to be that support system, because that's the role you take on. And you never ask for help. And so when you ask for help, it's a huge surprise that Pile 3 is not okay. What do you mean Pile 3 is not okay? And so you're asking people to come in based on that mask that you're wearing, feeling like you have to put it on all the time. Like, I can't show my vulnerability. That's weakness. But not being okay, that's why grief is coming in. Because grief is a perceived weakness for you. But grief is not weakness. It's a normal part of life. Feeling like you're not okay is a normal part of life. And I feel like this is especially true for the men out there. Like, it's hard for men to show emotions. And if you're a woman and you identify with the divine feminine, being in this state is highly unnatural for your energy body. And so it's like resisting a natural part of yourself, okay? And so it means that you're stuck in that being connected to only the divine masculine within us, right? We all have both energies within us. And so if you're only connecting to the divine masculine, you're not able to receive. You're only taking action all the time. Like, I have to be the support. I have to be the one that takes care of everybody. I have to put myself on the back burner, right? That's being very active all the time and never taking a breath for yourself or a break for yourself. So it's safe to say that that dynamic would actually manifest in a romantic relationship time and time again, because you're telling yourself that to be vulnerable is a weakness. When it's not. To be vulnerable is one of the greatest strengths that you can show within yourself, because it's showing that you're willing to let people in, even if just a little bit, even if you just start with a small little bit, right? And that's with friends or with family, with people you trust right now. So I feel like even with people you trust, like they don't really know who you are. And it's just because a lot of times when things get hard, when the tough gets going, right? Like you're somebody who oftentimes run away from your own emotions, but you become the support system for everybody else and what they're going through. And you've seen it. Everybody suffer. You've seen everybody have these weird emotions that life brings, whatever they are. But for some reason, you're holding yourself up to some unattainable standard that you yourself can't feel that way. And that's not fair, pile 3. Because you're human too, and you have emotions just like every other person here on this world. You're not a robot. You're not AI. You're a person. And that means that you're going to feel very irrational or unwelcome emotions sometimes. But it's not a weakness. It's who we are. And so accepting that part of yourself helps you to invite people in. And I'm not saying just pour your story onto someone. What I'm saying is, like, when you're having a bad day, don't be afraid to let someone in and say, you know what, I'm really having a terrible day today. I'm really feeling it. And share with someone you trust what it is that you're feeling. Because the minute that you find someone who's willing to listen to you, you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. But that's going to start balancing out those dynamics in your life as well. And you're going to start seeing, are all of these dynamics truly worth having in my life? Or have I really just invited in a lot of unbalanced people who only want to take from me and have nothing to give? I'll tell you what, the people who want to be there, they will be. And I think that's important for you to know, pile 3. All right, let's see what else. Okay, these want to come out. Wow, you're getting 3 of these. Okay, Neptune, dream and transcend. It's time to transcend this old belief system, this old pattern, you know, and that could come from childhood. Especially like if you were in a situation where your parents, you know, like when a child falls down and scrapes their knee and you start crying because it hurts. You're not crying because it was inconvenient, but parents who make it seem like it's inconvenient that you got hurt and that you're crying, that would make sense as to why you're experiencing this. Or like if you were told that crying was a weakness, but it's not. Crying is cleansing, and I feel like that's something that you would definitely cleanse from, is if you allowed yourself to cry. Wow, we have slave coming out here. So surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. So trusting in the process and trusting that source is going to help you cleanse your soul. The shadow is giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. So if you grew up with parents who made it seem like if you cried, that was a burden or that was a problem, even now you're still giving them your power because you're believing that that's the true thing. Which is understandable if it was cemented into your head time and time again, right? We have be playful. Yeah, so connecting with your inner child is very important for you to attract a healthy romantic connection relationship in your life. And then, yeah, bring a gentle touch, dear spirit, reconnecting with the divine feminine. And it doesn't matter what you identify with, 2222 on the clock, right? If you're divine masculine, if you're divine feminine, none of that matters. This is just about getting in touch with the divine feminine that resides in all of us, which is that softer side. There's just a really rough edge here on your energy, and it's understandable. You've had a rough life. You've gone through a lot. You know, and that's the other thing with grief too. Grief has a tendency to close us off when we don't allow ourselves to feel it. We can become even rougher. We can become even more disconnected if we don't feel it. And we're being controlled by whatever stage of grief that we're in if we never make it to acceptance. Tortoise, you're too fragmented to do whatever it takes to get grounded. Yeah, so you're feeling all broken up, like your soul is feeling fragmented. It's in too many places. It's like bringing all of those pieces back to yourself. They're never truly lost, right? They just appear lost because we're disconnected from those aspects of ourselves, but they're never truly lost. We just open our hearts to invite them back in. And you can ask your guides to help with that, but you can also ask your higher self to show you where you're feeling fragmented at, okay? All right. Wow, you're getting a lot of cards, pile 3. Okay, on the bottom, we have poker face, taking a chance, risks and options, not showing hand in gambling. And I feel like this is a very synchronistic card to what's going on. It's going to take, you're going to have to take a chance. It's going to be a risk to show yourself, your vulnerable side, right? That's taking a gamble because you don't know how it's going to be received and you don't know what's going to be returned, but it's going to give you valuable information. And also validating your emotions and how you're feeling is a huge start to that as well, okay? But I feel like this is also synchronistic because you don't ever show what's going on. Like you're just someone who doesn't. You don't want people to know that about you. And I can appreciate that, but it's also very isolating. So remember, and when you don't show who you are, you'll never have that real deep soul connection with another person because they'll never know who you are at your soul. Right? We have the golden mirror, narcissist, love bombing, self-absorbed and one-sided. This is why you've been surrounded by narcissists. It's understandable that you have a very challenging time showing your emotions because they were used as weapons against you. When your emotions get weaponized against you, it's kind of like you come into this state of mind where it's like, nope, I'm never going to show that side of myself to anybody ever again because that hurt too much. So it's easier. That's why it makes sense as to why when things get tough, you close off, you shut down, right? And I can understand that 100%. But you want that healthy dynamic. To have a healthy dynamic, you have to be willing to be vulnerable with another person and share vulnerabilities. And the right person is going to see that as courage and strength. They're not going to see that as a reason to hold against you at a later date, right? And part of that's just kind of testing the waters here and there. You don't have to give 100% of your vulnerabilities up front, but just start testing the waters. I feel like that's something that's going to be very powerful for you. Yeah, look, we've got let go of control issues flying out. Allow the situation to unfold naturally. You not showing your vulnerable self is you holding control. Like that's also you controlling the dynamic of the relationship, keeping everybody at arm's length. Right? On the bottom, calling in your soulmate. Your prayers and affirmations and visualizations help bring you together. Okay, so being open is how you call in your soulmate, your person, because they're going to see that as true strength. Okay, let your friends help you. I cannot make this energy up. It is very clear. It says ask for and accept. Big word here, accept. That's the highlight here, accept. Support from others. So this is about you already opening yourself up to the people you trust in your life right now. I feel like you have a few people that you might trust in your life. And so opening yourself up to them and letting yourself be vulnerable with them. And I feel like there's going to be somebody here who really appreciates that from you. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, pile 3, we've been waiting for you to be vulnerable about where you're at in life. And I'm so glad you shared that with me. Right? Square. But it is a challenge. It's simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy. Right? A challenging situation, a mountain to climb. But it's worth it. Okay? Yeah. To share your emotional state, satisfy emotional needs, nurture self and others, to share how you feel. Okay? Earth energy, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, we have persistence, patience, and practicality. So little by little, my mom always used to tell me growing up, inch by inch, it becomes a cinch. And I feel like that's exactly the type of mindset that will help benefit you in the long run. Oh, I guess you got 4 of these. Wow. Saturn, again, challenge, right? Feeling restricted, experiencing struggle, learn hard work and patience. So this is a challenge for you, but it is something that will help open your heart to the romantic connection that you want and something that's a healthy dynamic. Engineer, you're building it, right? Ability to give creative energy a practical expression, talent for designing resolutions to common dilemmas. And this is also about learning constructive ways to express your anger, okay? The shadow is resilience on mechanistic solutions without regard for the emotional consequences. And I feel like that's kind of how you've been responding to a lot. You've just come from this place of being very mechanical with your emotional state. You just kind of have these canned responses that you give to people, or like it's like people ask how you are and they genuinely want to know, and you always answer the same thing over and over again, and people feel that disconnection. Okay. Manatee is my favorite sea animal. They're so freaking cute. It says accept the situation as it is rather than fighting to change it. And that's a control issue coming in as well, right? Like, stop trying to control the outcome here. I feel like you're afraid to get hurt by people. So it's like, I'm controlling the outcome by not telling people how I'm feeling. But there could be certain dynamics that continue to repeat themselves because you're not being 100% honest with yourself or with them. Healthy choices, self-love, self-care, being happier, love, and life. So making healthier choices, loving yourself, okay? Separation. Look, sadness, bitterness, again, grief here, missing you, thinking about you, an uncertain future. I feel like this is just that confirmation to the grief that keeps coming up in your reading. Cupid's arrow, have faith that love is coming, surprise invitation, and struck by love. Love is meant to be a part of your life, and supportive love is meant to be a part of your life. But right now, the highlight of your energy is in this separation, the grief energy that you're feeling, okay? Passion, insane chemistry, sparks and having fun, equal interest, and a burning desire. So there's someone here that's going to come in with a lot of passion for you. I do feel like it's going to be a slow process for you building that connection with them, but it's going to be with purpose. It's going to be so that you can learn to trust someone with that most vulnerable side of yourself and see that they're not out to get you, because that can be really scary when you've had it weaponized against you, especially with Golden Mirror coming out, okay? So let's take a look at this card. I'm going to read it from the book for you. We're going to see what it says. Wow, we have Silver Lunar Dragon. I cannot make this up. Bathes you in divine feminine light. Okay, we're trying to reconnect with the divine feminine within all of us. Okay, it's not whether you're a man, a woman, non-binary, whatever you identify with, none of that matters. This is just about reconnecting with the divine feminine within, okay? Bathes you in divine feminine light. Come into balance and practice peace, harmony, and cooperation. Expand your causal chakra, which is, it resides right at the occiput where your spine meets your skull. That little bump in the back of your head, that's your occiput, okay? And the causal chakra is usually about 3 to 5 inches outside of that. And the goal with our causal chakra is to bring it back inside our body. And that takes patience and practice and continuing to stand in this divine lunar, the divine feminine energy, okay? It just takes time and practice, and just know that you will get there, okay? All right. So we're going to read this from the book. It says, this card suggests that you call on the Silver Lunar Dragons to bathe you in their energy and that you practice peace, harmony, equality, cooperation, love, unity, and wisdom in your daily life. The Lunar Dragon will be close by, helping and supporting you. As you are bringing yourself into balance, you are doing your part to bring the planet into equilibrium. Visualize your causal chakra as your own personal moon, right? We have the moon energy, and your moon connects to your emotions. The silver lunar dragons will touch and expand it until the frequency is high enough to allow pure white unicorns to step through it. And unicorns are very magical beings, okay? So that's the thing. It's like, this is where a lot of magic happens for you, is allowing this lunar energy, the emotional body, to expand. It's not that you don't have emotional maturity. You do. But your emotional maturity is like having to be cracked through a hard shell in order to actually have access to it without being brought to that mask that you wear, right? The I'm okay. I'm always okay. I have to be okay. That's what we're trying to crack open so that you can show an even deeper part of yourself. And this is how you attract a healthy romantic love in your life, because the person that you share this with, that's meant for you, is going to help support you and be there fully for you. And they're not going to use it to tear you down, because they appreciate your vulnerability. And that's something that they find as a great strength, and they admire that in you. Okay. So maybe you watched all 3 piles, and if you did, leave a purple heart down below. That's part of my Purple Heart Club, and I appreciate anybody who spends any amount of time with me here. But pile 3, this is what I see for you today. And if you felt like this was your reading, leave a moon emoji, and I'll let you choose which one. But leave the moon emoji down below and say, I open up to allowing my vulnerabilities to be seen. While it is scary, I know that I face my fear with courage and resolve. And if it resonated, it would mean so much to me if you were to like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel further, you'll find everything you need in the description box. So that being said, I'd like to take a moment to thank my guides, your spirit messengers, your angel source, and my spirit guides for coming through. We're going to get there. It's Mercury and Pisces for the next few weeks, but we're going to get there. All right, and pile number 3, here's a big, big hug. I love you all so much. You're doing an amazing job, and you deserve to be seen, okay? Until next time, pile number 3, stay human. Bye.